Duncan. Our next speaker is Anthony Weldon.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Just tilt the mic down so that it'll be where your mouth is.
My name is Anthony Weldon. I'm the vice president of an organization called We Helping Us, Inc. Let me give you a little bit of my background. I work for Bread for the City in a district, running the food and clothing program for over a decade. And I run into some ongoing issues that really disturb me, such as food aid programs, not being able to supply food for a lot of families to suffice for their needs. I mean, most of them, they'll give you food for a 72-hour period, but a person has to eat throughout the whole month. You know, I've even seen some senior citizens supplementing food, meat with dog food. And I know that sounds kind of extreme, but it's real. And I'm in the effort of right now, myself and the president of We Helping Us, we're trying to create a situation where we can have some of these families have a foundation where they can come to a warehouse and shop for a little amount of money and be fed for the whole month. Now, what I'm witnessing also is that because of some of these households being without food and have to make a decision to either buy a little bit of food here to try to survive for the month and not pay this bill, whereas they're not being able to pay their light bill or pay for their gas and things of that nature. It's kind of sickening, and it hurts. And what I'm proposing is that I'm asking for some help and some guidance, because I know there are funds that can be prioritized to these basic needs so that people can have a foundation to grow off of some of these other issues that we're talking about. Because now, if this goes on, is the children that we're talking about just out here, just on the streets doing drugs now. I grew up knowing that if I had a family meal at home, the family got a chance to sit down and talk. And some of those values came into my life, whereas I wasn't a part of the street. I had reverence for my home. And all that started because I know I played basketball when I was hungry. I went home, I knew a meal was there for me. And that gave my parents a chance to talk to me. That gave my parents a chance to share some of the struggles that they had went through before me and let me know that they were making things better for me. You know, so I'm just simply, I'm asking for a focus right now so that we can start looking at some of the basic needs and get the foundation for the basics that's needed at home so the family structure can strengthen. And maybe some of these things can start evolving and taking care of themselves through active home structure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weldon. We have one final speaker. No? We have a few more? Okay. We'll hear from Mayor Lee Walker from Landover Hills. Thank you, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
County Executive Baker, Senator Peters, Delegate Ivey, Madam Moderator. I am Lee P. Walker, Mayor of the town of Landover Hills. My comments tonight concerns question number 7 on the balloting which took place during the general election on November 6, 2012, which was unanimously approved by the citizenry. Considering the estimated $500 million to be derived from casinos as a result of the passage of question 7 and gaming expansion, also considering the stated inclusion of funding for education, jobs, increased police protection, particularly for the municipalities directly impacted due to their proximity to the gaming facilities, although all municipalities will be impacted in some fashion. Taking these factors into consideration, what percentage, if any, will be allocated for local governments out of the estimated $500 million from gaming expansion in Prince George's County and other portions of our great state? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We have two final speakers. Greg Billing, the Washington Area Bicyclist Association. Mr. Billing? And our final speaker will be Jesse Adoro.
Good evening, Executive Baker
Good evening.
and the state legislation delegation, for your time and listening. My name is Greg Billing. I'm the advocacy coordinator for the Washington Area Bicyclists Association. We're an organization based in D.C., but we represent 1,700 supporters and members in Prince George's County looking for places to ride their bicycles. Thank you for your continued support. You have a great staff that's been working with us and state level organizations and agencies to increase areas for bicycling. One thing we'd like to point out is just the access to affordable transportation. Car ownership in this region is very expensive. The average person spends about $9,000 a year in car ownership and car payments and insurance and gas. All of those things are expensive. So providing some access for affordable transportation, we think a bicycle might be a good way to do that. We'd like to especially thank you for your support on the Bladensburg Waterfront Trail, which in the next year or so will be connected to the District of Columbia, giving most of northern Prince George's County access to the district and job centers, education centers, local food. We'd just like to ask for any support that you can have from both the state and the county for increasing bicycling and walking, specifically bike lanes. Connecting the WB&A Trail to the District of Columbia would be a fantastic project. And as we start to look at development around metro stations, making sure that biking and walking are included in those plans to get people to transit. We've seen examples of that around the region, and we think that Prince George's County has a lot of opportunity areas. But again, I'd like to just mostly take this time to say thank you for all your support, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you.
If we are supposed to get the message as residents that these cameras are for our safety, it makes no sense that you'll have cameras where you have no sidewalks. And even as I say, I'm a youth leader, I talk to my youth and how one of my youth has to walk to Duval from her house, and she has to take a longer path because there are no sidewalks that are direct. And she's scared of the road. So there are just a lot of these issues. Another prime example on 202. Right where you have the new camera at Prince George's Prince George's Community College, you also have Largo High School there, and there are no sidewalks. When you cross the street, it becomes a turn-in lane, and you see students having to walk on the turn-in lane to get on the, to make that right to, I believe that's Campus Way. And then also about the cameras, but just about this whole thing, speed zones. I don't understand how they're updated or how they're set in place, but I don't get it. So even on 202, you have right here, it says end school zone, and then like just a few feet down, there's another school zone. And so it just makes no sense at all. And then even as a resident, I live in Riverdale, Parkdale High School. You can see that this is clearly, the school is still here, but it says end school zone. And this is right in front of the football field. And so I feel like it's not, I don't really feel like our students and our residents, the pedestrians, are being really taken into consideration when it comes to these issues, the speeding cameras, the sidewalks, and just, yeah, I just fear for the pedestrians, especially the youth.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Adoro. She is our last speaker, and I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight, for taking the time to voice your concerns, your issues, and as we said earlier, we're not solving the problems tonight, but certainly your voices have been heard. So before you all put your coats on and leave, I'd like to invite our county exec to have closing remarks.
You know, if you can help me and give Endoris a nice round of applause for being out here tonight. And I'd also like to thank each and every one of you for coming out. It is very important for us as we craft legislation and go down to Annapolis that we hear from you first. This is something the leadership in Annapolis, the leadership on the council, and myself had agreed on last year that we wanted to hear from you. So believe it or not, but believe it. We are taking your comments tonight. we're putting those together, and we will use those to help guide us not only in Annapolis but also the things that we're doing throughout the year in Upper Marlboro. So thank you. Have a safe trip back home, and thank you for coming out. Yeah, I'm headed down in myself.